Whatever you think the best Windows laptop is, the goalposts just move for miles. You've seen me say on the channel that like the best workstations I've tried is the MacBook Pro 16-inch with absolutely maxed version. Then you've got the P16 from Asus ProArt with RTX 5090, right? This laptop here takes the big laptops and workstation laptops to a whole other level. This is not 16-inch. This is not 17-inch. This is 18-inch laptop. It features RTX 5090 and so much more power. It's pulling almost double the wattage as we get on this one here. And that's just the top of the iceberg. So let's see what this laptop can do. I hope you understand the size difference here, how much bigger this is. And I know this is a gaming laptop, and if you're new to the channel, obviously we look at this from creators' point of view, but that is what makes this interesting to me, because they haven't cut any corners in terms of cooling or performance, and it's absolutely massive. Like, I've got the MacBook Pro and the ProArt P16 laid on top of each other, and it's basically the same thickness as this laptop in here. In terms of screen sizes, look at that. So we'll dive deeper into the performance of this laptop in a minute, but first let's talk about the specs. For CPU, we're running the AMD Ryzen 9 9955HX 3D CPU. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's a 16-core CPU. And what makes this CPU special, it's not just the amazing 16 cores, but also 144 megabytes of 3D cache. I'm sure you've heard how good that is for gaming, but what about creators? We've got 64 gigabytes of RAM, running at 5600 megatransfers per second. Apparently, they're SODIMM slots. We'll tear it down later and have a look if that's true. 2 terabytes of Samsung NVMe SSD, and apparently it's Gen 5 speeds. And there's another NVMe slot, PCIe Gen 4 speeds, which we'll find out later during the teardown. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, NVMe test, and we've got 13.9 gigabytes per second read speeds and 10.7 gigabytes per second. So it's true, there's a Gen 5 NVMe inside. For GPU, there is no other but the RTX 5090. But what's special about this one is it's got 175 watt TGP power delivery, which in comparison to the ProArt P16 that you've seen me cover on the channel has only 130 watts delivered to the GPU. That is a massive difference. It's not just the power inside that's impressive, it's got a lot more ports than any usual laptop for connectivity. On the left side of the laptop, we've got a full-size SD card reader, which is fast. I'm getting 280 plus megabytes per second with my V90 cards. 2 USB Type-A ports at 5 gigabits per second speeds. On the back of the device, we've got HDMI 2.1 supporting up to 8K 60Hz, RJ45 port with 2.5 gigabit Ethernet speeds, and a power adapter port, which is 400 watts. 400 watts. Can we just stop there for a second? That's ridiculous. On the right side of the device, we've got 2 times USB 4 ports with power delivery and display output. Also, Thunderbolt 4 compatible. Another USB Type-A, 10 gigabits per second speed, and headphone and mic combo jack. So just remember, if you want faster ports, go on the right side of the laptop, because the USB Type-A is faster on that side than on the left side. So in terms of the keyboard and trackpad, the trackpad is a diving board, so no haptic. There's clicks actually quite high up as well if you want to get there. There is a fingerprint reader on here. We've got a full numpad on the right side, not so separated, but it's a very nice keyboard from Steel series, so they've collaborated with them. Very nice key travel, and you can customize every single key RGB. And if you're a gamer, you can see that these keys are slightly different. The next thing to test with this monster is performance. How close is it to desktop performance? Can it beat the maxed out MacBooks and the best of Windows laptops I've tried? Well, here we go. Okay, let's test this performance then. Firstly, there's a few power settings that you can do on it. If you hit function key and then F7, you can cycle through different ones, and this one there, the second one on the left, is the power performance mode. There is also a way to just put the fans in full utilization by hitting function key and F arrow up. Oops, not that. So function key and arrow up will take your fans all the way full speeds. So we are in Cinebench R24 right now, and I'm gonna press start. Basically, what this test allows us to do is check the CPU performance. This is actually a real workflow that some of the creators use, just CPU rendering, something like that. So we'll see how well is it doing that. Right now, we're pulling 130 watts from the CPU, which is really, really quite a lot. This is one of the highest I've seen in a laptop. We're still at 75 degrees and it cools it down really well. Now, as you can see over here, we are at 75 degrees. I'm gonna hit the fan speed at maximum just to see how much better the cooling would be if we just hit max cooling. Now, the fans are quite loud, as you can hear probably, but the temperature hasn't changed that much. We are still at 75 degrees, so only 2 degrees lower. On a GPU, I'll show you, that makes a much more bigger difference. So it seems that maybe some of the heat pipes that are going over the CPU, it just doesn't need to cool it down. 76 degrees is still very, very good, and 130 watts constantly pulled like this at 75 on a laptop. I don't know if you know how impressive this is. We'll see the score, but right now, we're looking at around 1,900 points. Okay, over 2,000 now. Okay, it finished the score and it's 2,004 points. Bear in mind, I've got the hardware info open on the side, but we are the fastest Windows laptop I have ever tested by far. The second best is Asus ProArt, and that is 1,600 points. So we are about 25% faster. I'm gonna close the hardware info and I wanna know if we can actually get a better score. I'm gonna have to uninstall some of the floatware to see if we can get it a little bit better. Just a quick restart. Same test, let's go. So we just completed the test and we're 2,137 points. That is officially the fastest laptop that I have ever tested. So there was antiviruses and some stuff running in the background, which obviously I killed off. This is seriously impressive. M4 Max, that's the best laptop so far, that got 2,090 points. We are 47 points higher, 2,137 points. Okay, let me put that in perspective. You see, just outside the shot over there is our editing machine, a full-size desktop with 13900K in it. That gets the same similar score as this one here. This laptop has the same performance as that 13900K, which pulls 253 watts. Almost double the wattage what this laptop can do, yet the same score. That's absolutely ridiculous to say the least. And I've never seen anything like that on a laptop before, and I guess that's why it's so thick. Now, CPU performance is one thing. This has the monster of a 5090 inside with 175 watts TGP. So let's see if that is true. So what I've got here is a firmmark. So this basically is a temporary or very synthetic way of just testing how much graphics power are we running through. So this is a 4K test and it's running in 109 frames per second. And look at that, our GPU is pulling 175 watts. So we're pulling that. Now, I don't even have the fans at 100% speed, and we are at 58 degrees at the moment. So we'll leave it for a bit and then see how hot is it gonna get, because it is heating up. It's actually crazy. I've never tested it up to now. But basically, seriously impressive. Okay, so we've run the test for a couple of minutes now. So we're 2 minutes and 50 seconds roughly in. And what you can see over here is that the temperature test is kind of plateauing. What's happening there is it got hot and then the fans kicked in and then it went lower, a bit hotter. So the fan speed kind of keeps it at around 70 degrees. Now, if I put the fan speed at full speed like that,
take a look at what happens with the temperature. It's the yellow graph that we want to follow here. So, as you can see, we have dropped quite a bit. We are at 60.3 and 60.2 degrees. That is 9.5 degrees lower. We've just dropped 10 C. So not only is it super powerful, the cooling really can keep up with it, which is insane. In this room right now, there is 23 degrees. Now, synthetic GPU benchmark, it's good to know how the power management works, but what about the actual performance? So if you're in a creative application, it can't actually utilize all of the power. So what about the P16 with RTX 5090 that can only pull up to 130 watts? This 170 watts, let's do the test. This is Cinebench R26. And what we're able to do here now is measure the GPU performance. And what I want to know is how much better is it compared to some of the desktop variants, 5090, 5080, is it 5070 Ti? Where does it line up? And how much, oh my goodness, it's already done. I reckon this is the best GPU performance on a laptop. So, and just for reference, the MacBook Pro M4 Max with 128 gigabytes of RAM. So the best laptop that Apple currently offers.
Okay, since I have the M5 Max now in the studio and I can actually tell you the difference between the new best what Apple offers, then the M5 Max gets 94,500 points, somewhere around that. Not quite as fast as the RTX 5090, but still impressive on a battery and what Apple's doing. But still, this MSI is about 10 to 15% faster.
That got 69,000 points. This here is 104,500 points. RTX 5080, underneath here, this is my personal rig with RTX 5080, gets 108,000 points. So this is within a couple of percent, within a margin of error of the desktop RTX 5080, but has extra 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, and now we got 106,000 points, literally within margin of error of the RTX 5080 desktop variant. I hope you understand how ridiculous of a GPU this is inside here. It's absolutely bonkers.
Next, the display. Arguably one of the most important aspects of a laptop since you're staring at it at all times. Again, this is where the MSI Raider A18 HX does not disappoint. This is an 18-inch 4K mini LED panel with 120 Hz refresh rate. We're talking about 2 million to 1 contrast ratio, 1000 nits brightness, 100% DCI P3 color space. Whether you're a creator or just enthusiast, these are some mean specs. When testing them side by side with the best panels I've got in the studio, MacBook Pro M4 Max 16-inch and Asus ProArt P16 with the best Windows display on a 16-inch, the tandem OLED one, the MSI is not just keeping up with the best displays, but also looks brighter than the tandem OLED next to it, and the MacBook kind of looks like old technology.
So seeing all the three laptops side by side is absolutely fascinating. So we've got the MSI on one side, and this is the best what Windows can offer on this side, which is the tandem OLED 16-inch. But side by side, whatever the specs say, the MSI looks brighter. I mean, you can clearly see it on the video. I'm looking at the bright bits of the image. Is just insane. This 16-inch MacBook Pro looks like an old technology and so small. Like these side by side. I mean, look at the difference now. Can you see how much brighter that is compared to this? It's absolutely ridiculous. And the 18-inch is amazing. I mean, it's not 1440p, it's not 2K, 3K. It's a 4K panel. It's incredible amount of pixels and it looks amazing. I am really impressed. Okay, I thought while I have the laptops side by side, let's test the speakers as well, because apparently this has got 6 speakers. So, MSI on. Hardly any bass. That is significantly better, and that's the Pro IP16. These two are very, very similar. Yeah, the speakers aren't very good. So I just pulled the back cover off, and the teardown is very, very easy. All the screws are exactly the same size, and well, there is a lot of them, but it just very simply comes off and you don't need to worry about anything. So opening this up is super, super simple. So there's some interesting things happening there. Firstly, you can see loads of heat pipes, and it makes sense why it is so well cooled. Also, these fans are very, very thick. You can see on the sides how thick they are, that you usually don't see that type of thing. That's why they just blow a lot of air through from both of these sides. So air goes in from there and then exhaust from both of the sides, and it works there as well. One of these is CPU, one of them GPU. I'm not sure exactly which one, but you know, you don't really need to know. Then what we have in here is the power delivery, and VRAM are also cooled by all of these heat pipes. As you can see, there's so many heat pipes, I think 7 altogether or something like that. And then you can see another little heat pipe here on top of this Gen 5 NVMe SSD. So you can see that that is plugged into over there. I don't want to pull this off because there's some kind of thermal compound underneath there. Even though I could replace it, I'm just can't be bothered doing that. There is a Gen 5 plugged into there, and there is an empty slot underneath there. You can see that nothing is plugged into there. So you can easily add another Gen 5 NVMe there if you want to. This big black square is actually where your RAM is. And underneath here, look, SODIMM slots, 2 of them, and this is 64 gigabytes, which means that you can also upgrade this to 128 gigabytes. Obviously not at this economy, but in theory, if that makes sense, which would make this an insane workstation. Then what you can see over there is a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi card. So whenever in the future you want to, you know, update to Wi-Fi 8 or Bluetooth 6, something like that, then feel free to do that because you've got a dedicated slot for that in there. So if you ever need to service anything, change the battery, it's very easy to open up, which is good news, right? What is the conclusion about this MSI laptop? Can I be honest? I am impressed because I did not expect that. I did not expect this to be so close to the desktop performance. Now on desktop, I'm running the 9950X 3D, which is the desktop variant of this CPU. And this CPU here performs very, very similarly. So whatever AMD has done on the CPU department for this laptop, amazing. AMD, MSI, their magic just works really well on the CPU. But not just the CPU, the GPU as well. The GPU is RTX 5090, and we've got 24 gigabytes of VRAM, which is not as much as we have on desktop, but this is the same performance as the RTX 5080 desktop version that pulls more than double the performance, or more than double the wattage, if that makes sense. But this is better because it's got more VRAM and it's got better encoders and decoders, because the 50 series would basically still get the 5090 desktop variant media engines, but kind of 5080 performance. So to me, actually this laptop is better than my personal rig that I just built, and this is just ridiculously impressive. There is one kind of downside that I just wish it had, because then it would be ideal. This Ethernet port in the back there, the RJ45 connector, this should be 10 gigabits per second. If that was a 10 gig connection, this would be just insane. Plug it in, everything, it's amazing. The SD cards reader, USB ports, USB 4, whatever you need, it's all there. That's the only downside that I can think of. A desktop performance, but on a laptop form factor. And the 18-inch just really works well. Even if you don't have external displays, you've got plenty of real estate on this one. Hands down, I did not expect this to be that good. Congratulations! If you've reached this part of the video, you're in the top 13% of people's attention graph. And there's more than 50% chance that you seeing this means you're not subscribed. So consider subscribing, hitting that bell icon, liking the video. It would mean a world to us. If you'd like to get detailed access to our internal benchmark database of CPUs, GPUs, SSDs, and so on for creators, then may I invite you to sign up to our newsletter, where we send out relevant information a couple of times a month when there is information. I'm not interested in flooding your inbox. This is when there is good information to share for your creative workflow. Then we'll send those emails out. And also you'll get the most exclusive access to some of the behind the scenes, perhaps even giveaways. So scan that QR code or link in the description below. If you've got any urgent questions to me personally, you can always reach out on Minect. I'll always get back to my messages. If you're looking for a new hoodie, may I recommend this one. This is not just any cheap random hoodie. This is a high quality hoodie that you can get. And when purchasing this, we get a small little kickback to help us build what we're building here. My passion is to help creators choose the best tech for their workflow and help them save some money in the process. This is Tech Notice, and if you've reached this part of the video, you have been upgraded to the top 5% of the people who ever see this part. And now YouTube thinks that you'll like this video, and if you haven't subscribed, you can do it on this side. Thanks very much guys for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.